Good morning to all of you. Today we will discuss the basics of .NET. Today we will discuss the basics of the .NET and what is the .NET framework and what is the advantage of .NET and why we need to learn .NET. What are the applications we can develop using the .NET. Today we will discuss this type of things. Uh, See, for example, if you want to learn any technology, first you should know this type of things. Why I need to learn this .NET? Why I need to learn Java? Why I need to learn this type? What is the advantage in the .NET? Okay. First, before going to discuss about the .NET, let me introduce myself. So myself, Mr. Krishna Prasad Tota, and I'm a .NET trainer. I have 8 years of experience in the .NET technologies like WCF, WPF, Silverlight, ASP.NET, C Sharp, SQL Server, and MVC. So using .NET framework, developer can easily develop the application. That is called .NET framework. So now we will see what is the basic steps included in the .NET. Okay. So what is the .NET framework? First step is .NET framework. What is .NET framework? The .NET is a programming framework created by Microsoft that developer can use to create applications more easily. So in developers, we are the developers. We are the developers. We are the .NET developers. So we can develop the application easily using .NET framework. And the next question is what type of applications we can create using .NET framework. So coming to real time. So we have it two types. In the real time, in day-to-day life, we are seeing Windows applications. Windows is nothing but a desktop application, standalone applications. In the web applications, the Windows application. First, what is the Windows application? Windows applications example is nothing but a Skype. All of you know the Skype, right? So Skype is nothing but a standalone application or a desktop application. So if I want to use Skype, what I want to do, I need to first I need to download the Skype and I need to install on my PC. Then I need to configure. So if you want to use the Skype, you need to install in our PC and then you need to configure. That is called desktop applications. So that type of desktop applications you can develop using Windows Form and then WPF. We have it two templates, Windows Forms and WPF. So in Windows Forms is a older application and WPF is a new way of developing the applications. So WPF we have some great features compared to Windows Forms. We using these two templates we can develop a Windows applications. Okay. So in WPF, for example of WPF is using WPF we can develop a rich user interface applications. I'm sorry. So using WPF, we can develop a rich user interface applications. So like Skype, if you want to develop a Skype in Windows Form, it is not possible to develop that type of a rich Skype in the Windows Form. In WPF, we can. Okay. And web applications. So using ASP.NET template, we can develop a web applications. What is web application? Example is Gmail. Gmail is a web application. That I'm telling the example. We will discuss in the later section in detail. So how to develop a Windows application using WinForm template and WPF template. What is the difference? For example, the great difference is in Windows form, if you want to display a video, that is too much headache. If you want to play a video in WPF, the 2 lines of code. If you wrote it 2 lines of code, that Windows will play. Sorry, we made a video will play. So that type of difference are there compared to WinForms and WPF. In ASP.NET, we can develop web applications. How we can develop that we will see in the later sessions. Right? I am telling what are the .NET framework, what is the use of .NET framework, what type of application we can create using .NET framework in the today's sessions. So we can create some web services, some mobile applications, and then console applications. What is web services? For example, you developed ASP.NET application. In our application, you want to display some Google Maps in our application. Then you need to call a Google. You need to consume Google Web Service. The Google will make it as a web service, and then it will give to the vendors. That type of services we will create using XML web service and WCF service. Mobile application, the mobile application we all of you know, right? That console applications. We can develop this type of application using .NET framework. So first, what is the .NET framework? Developer can easily develop the application using .NET framework. What type of application we can create? Windows application, web services, mobile application, console application. Windows, I told you, we have two templates, Windows Forms and WPF. In web application, we have a ASP.NET template. Web services, we can create using XML web services and WCF service. And mobile application, we can develop using some mobile templates are there in the .NET. So console application, we can develop using some console templates are there. So this is the .NET framework. So this is the first step you should know. And the next step, what is .NET framework? Now using .NET framework we can develop. So what are the components in the .NET framework? What are the major components in the .NET framework? That as a developer we should know all those things. So what is the major components in .NET framework? Common language runtime, CLR. CLR is responsible for executing the code. CLR is responsible for executing the code. See here, which is execution engine that handles the running application. What is this meaning? CLR. For example, as we are a .NET developer, so in the .NET developer, we have a two. For example, we have a C# programming language, and then we have a VB.NET programming language, and then we have a VC++ language. Like some other language also there. So I am a C# developer. Okay, I wrote my code in C#. Then I execute my program. Then CLR is responsible to execute the code and giving the output to us. That is the major component. Without CLR, there is no .NET framework at all. That is a major component. What is the CLR? I will tell you in the next slides. So now the CLR is the major component. CLR is responsible to execute the code, our code. That's it. So second point is .NET Framework Class Library. What is that? First, which provide a library of tested, reusable code that developer can call from their own application. So one point in the first slide we discussed we can develop a application using .NET Framework developer, right? So I am developing my own application using .NET Framework. So in the .NET Framework we have a base class library, .NET Framework class library. That is called we can call it as a base class library also. We have a base class library. In that base class library contain namespaces, classes, methods, events, delegates, and properties, lot of things. So we can call that events, we can call that classes, we can call that methods, we can call the namespaces in our own application. Why? Because I am developing application using .NET Framework. In .NET Framework have one class library, .NET Framework class library. I can use that class library in our own application, in my own application. So for example I am telling you one simple example. I want to create a text file. I want to create a text file in my project. So I can call class library, base class library. In base class library I have a class. I will call the class and then I will create simple two lines or one line. I can call that class and I will create a notepad. I will create a text file in my project, in my application. So the base class library or .NET Framework class library and CLR. These are all the two major components in the .NET Framework. So you understood, right? Now CLR is the which is execution engine that handle the running application. It is responsible for execute the code. .NET Framework class library have some reusable code that developer can call from their own applications. So I told you the one example called creating the text file. So these are the two major components, and also we have some major components in the .NET Framework. Okay, so coming to here, some major components. Memory management system. What is memory management system? The memory management system is very important thing. We should know how the memory is going allocate, how the memory is deallocating for the program. Because of this only the application will going to clash. This of the memory management system only the application will going to stuck. These are all the this because of this memory management only the application will the performance problem will come. So what is memory management system is, in many programming languages, programs are programmers. Who is the programmers? Developers. We are the programmers. For example, I am a C developer. I am a C++ developer. I am the responsible for allocating and releasing memory and for handling object lifetimes. So as in .NET Framework applications, so we are the .NET developers, we are the C# developers, we are the ASP.NET developers. So we don't bother about the memory management system. Why? Because we have a one important component in the .NET Framework called CLR. I told you, right? The CLR is responsible for the allocating the memory and releasing the memory and handling object lifetimes in the .NET Framework. So CLR will provide the services on behalf of the application. We don't bother about memory management. As a .NET developer, we don't bother about the memory management system. The CLR will provide the memory management. In the CLR, we have some components. So that components will take care. That we will discuss in detail in the memory management session. The memory management, see, for example, if you wrote one code, if you wrote one class in C#, for example, if you have in your class, you have a four methods. If you execute the program, then the memory should, somewhere the memory should allocate. The somewhere memory should allocate, right? Without the memory allocation, the program will not execute. That memory allocation, deallocation in the older languages like C, C++, developers, the programmer is responsible for allocating and releasing the memory. So in the .NET, we are not responsible. The CLR will provide this type of service on behalf of us and the application. Okay. So if you have one class on methods, the CLR will allocate the memory. You don't bother about that. How to allocate the memory, how to release the memory. Sometimes we need to release the memory. That what are the types where we need to release the memory in the .NET in the memory leakage. These are all we will discuss in the memory management class session. Okay, this is memory management, and also great feature we have is a common type system. What is common type system? So in the .NET framework, okay, in the .NET framework we have a VB.NET language and we have a C# language. So for example, I am a C# developer. I want to declare a one way integer variable in C#. So the syntax is int variable name equal to some, I'm assigning value 10 and then colon. This is the syntax in C#. So you are the VB.NET developer. So you are the VB.NET developer. So you are in the VB.NET the syntax is different to declare an integer variable. Dim variable name as integer and equal to some value 10, assigning value 10. This is the syntax in VB.NET. The syntax is different in C#. But in coming to .NET, in the .NET framework, we have a common type system. For example, if we are developing a program in VB.NET, I am developing a program in C#, we can merge together. But the responsible, how the compiler will understand, how the .NET framework will understand for the different type of syntax, because syntax is different, right? VB.NET C#. So common type system, CTS is the responsible this type of operations. Common type system. This is also very important. Memory management is important. Common type system is important. CLR is important. And one more is .NET Framework class library is important. So development frameworks. We have some development frameworks. Already I told you right in the first slide. We can develop some applications using .NET Framework, web application using ASP.NET, and the Windows application we can use WinForms and WPF, and Windows service means web service application we can develop using WCF and XML web services, and ADO.NET. ADO.NET is responsible for access the database objects. What is the database? SQL Server is the database. Oracle is the database. MS Access is a database. Excel is the database. We can connect this type of data sources using ADO.NET. ADO.NET is the concept. We can connect from .NET to databases like SQL Server, Oracle, Excel, MS Access. These are all the databases. So this ADO.NET is also very important because without databases we cannot develop applications. We can develop only static applications. We want to store some data where we can store in the databases, right? Data sources. So different sources we can connect using ADO.NET. So this is the some important components in the .NET framework. And coming to here, these are also some important components. This not required. You will get confused. So multi-targeting. This all we will discuss in the later section. You simply will understand. You can see now. And then what is the execution of the code? What is the execution of the code? Code execution process. For example, as a developer, as a C# developer, uh, as a C# developer, we are writing code in C#. As a VB.NET developer, we will write a code in VB.NET. Then we will run the program, we will execute the program, then output will come. Then from code to output, what is the execution process is going on? We should know this execution process. We will write a high level language. You know what is the high level language, right? In C++ also is there high level language and low level language. So C# code is the high level language code. So when we write a high level language code, that compiler will not understand the high level language code. Then operating system will not understand the high level language, and CPU will not understand the high level language code. But how we will get the output? We are writing only high level language, but we are getting the output. Then in the middle between .NET framework, we have a, it will go to some process. We are writing the, for example, if you wrote some code in C sharp, that C sharp compiler. For example, if you wrote a code in VB.NET, VB.NET compiler, and then VC++ and VC++ compiler. For example, here I am telling one example as C sharp, because C sharp is a very modern language. So C sharp, I wrote a code in C sharp. When I run that program, when I run that application, that C sharp compiler will take care about that to compile the, to convert the source code into the MSIL code. What is MSIL code? Microsoft Intermediate Language Code. So here C sharp compiler is will take care. In the VB.NET case, VB.NET compiler will take care. In VC++ case, in VC++ compiler will take care. So in our case, C sharp compiler will take care from source code to MSIL code. So you can see the diagram, you can understand easily. Then MSIL code to executable code, use of JIT compiler, JIT in time compiler, JIT. First high level language to MSIL code using C sharp compiler will convert this, and then MSIL to executable code will convert, JIT compiler will convert, then executable code into the CPU understandable language code or operating system understandable language code will take care about the CLR. Operating system always it will understand only zeros and ones. So that will take care about the CLR. CLR will convert that code, MSIL code or executable code into the CPU or operating system understandable language. After that, then we'll get a output. So this is the code execution process. I told you, right, what is CLR in the .NET, major components in the .NET framework slide. CLR is responsible for execution of our code. So this is the execution process. This all will take care about the CLR. Without CLR, there is no .NET framework. So this is the code execution process. So source code to MSIL code, MSIL code to executable code to CPU code, and CPU to, then we'll get a output. Okay, this is very very important. Every developer should know this. How the program going to, how the program is going, high level language to operating system understandable language code is very important thing. So this is the code execution process. Then coming to .NET framework versions. So we have a .NET framework that we have some versions in the .NET framework. What are the versions we have? And what are the features we have in the .NET framework? We should know before learning the technology. Before learning the technology, what the future, what are the features in introduced in what version is a very success version. We should know this all type of things. So coming to .NET framework version, first the .NET framework version 1.0. See here .NET framework and 1.0. In 1.0, it came on 2002. It came on 2002. So in 1.1 .NET framework version 1.1, it came on 2003. And .NET framework 2.0, it came on 2005. This is the most successful version in the .NET framework. From here to 4.5 or 5.0, from here .NET got most succeed in this version. Okay, from 2.0 is the most successful version for the .NET. The 1.0, 1.0, 1.1 is not that much famous. Okay, so from 2005, .NET introduced a 2.0 version, .NET framework version, and then 3.0 in 2006, 3.5 in 2007, and then 4.0 in 2010, and then 4.5 in 2012. Now 2016. Now see CLR version. CLR version. Along with .NET Framework 1.0, CLR is the one of the major component in the .NET Framework, right? So along with 1.0, we have CLR version 1.0. Along with .NET Framework 1.1, we have a C# CLR version is 1.1. In 2.0, .NET Framework 2.0 version and the CLR version is 2.0. In .NET Framework 3.0 and 3.5 version, but we have a compiler version. We have a CLR version is 2.0 only. That much of successful version. Then later the 4.0, the CLR version is changed to 4.0. There is no 3.0. See here, 3.0 per CLR. Directly it jumped to 4.0, and then 4.5 it jumped to 4.5. Okay, in CLR this is the .NET Framework version and this is the CLR version. And what is the Visual Studio? Visual Studio is the development tool. This is the development tool. This is a very good tool to develop applications in .NET. This is one of the best tool in the world. Okay, Visual Studio .NET version 1.0, they introduced Visual Studio .NET tool. 1.1 Visual Studio .NET 2003, and the version 2.0 they introduced Visual Studio 2005 tool, and then Visual Studio 2008, 2010, 2012, now 2014 also in the market. Okay, so Visual Studio is a very great tool. Developer can use the tool, you can easily develop the applications, .NET applications. Very good tool actually. We will discuss, we will see the practical classes in the next sessions, using how to create or how to create desktop or how to create a web application using Visual Studio, using this framework, how the program is executing with CLRs. So C Sharp. C Sharp in our .NET, C Sharp is a programming language. I told you earlier. VB.NET is a programming language, and then Visual Studio is the development tool, and then ASP.NET is to develop a web application. So ASP.NET is a technology to develop a web application. C Sharp is a programming language. So both C Sharp and ASP.NET we can develop a web application. Both WPF and C Sharp we can develop a Windows applications. So C Sharp is the backend language. C Sharp is that much important. If you want to develop any type of application, first you should know the one programming language, C Sharp or VB.NET something. So these are all the some versions for the C Sharp. Here's 1.0, 1.1, there is no some type of features, only common features we have. And then 2.0 is the most successful version, right? Framework 2.0 up to here. So generic, partial types, anonymous methods, iterators, nullable types, private setters, properties, method groups, conversions, delegates. These are all the features 2.0 C Sharp 2.0. And 3.0 implicitly type local variables, object and collection initializers, auto implemented properties, anonymous types, extension methods, queries, expressions, lambda expressions, expression trees, partial methods, and 4.0 these are dynamic binding names, optional arguments. These are all the features version by version you can see. These all features are important. These all features are important in C Sharp. This we will discuss once we start with the C Sharp classes. We will discuss this all features. This is also without C Sharp we cannot develop applications. If you know ASP.NET also, how we will write the code in the backend without C Sharp or VB.NET. So that much important for C Sharp. You should know the object-oriented programming. You should know the C Sharp features. So these are all the some features. So I will tell you the C Sharp entirely, all the features in the C Sharp classes. So these are the OS version. These are the .NET Framework version history. So see now, you can easily understand, see this diagram, you can easily understand. Then I'm going to next slide. .NET Framework architecture. So .NET, what is the .NET Framework and what these are all the version, these are all the architecture. For example, in this version, I am not talking about this 1.0 and 1.1 because that is not that much success versions. From 2.0 to 4.0 is the successful version for the .NET Framework. So in 2.0, what is the architecture? What is the .NET Framework architecture? In 2.0 came on 2005, we have a common language runtime, CLR. CLR is responsible for execution of code. Without CLR, there is no .NET Framework. The base class library. What is base class library? I told you, right? .NET Framework library. It will contain some base information, base class information, namespaces, classes, methods, delegates, events, properties. This all contain the base class. We can develop our own application. In our own application, we can call the base class library methods or classes. This is base class library. So in the 2.0, we have some templates called WinForms, ASP.NET and ADO.NET. WinForms, I told you already. Using WinForms, we can develop Windows application. We can do using WPF and WinForms. In up to 2.0 version, up to 2000, we can develop Windows applications using only WinForms. There is no WPF in 2.0. .NET Framework 2.0 version. And ASP.NET, all of you know, we can develop the web application using ASP.NET. And then ADO.NET. Using ADO.NET, already I told you, we can connect to the different data sources. Data sources is like a SQL Server database, MySQL, Oracle, or MS Excel, Microsoft Excel, or my MS Access. These are all the data sources. These are all the databases. We connect from .NET to that type of data sources or databases using ADO.NET. See, in 2.0 is the only limited version. See, only WinForms we have, ASP.NET we have, ADO.NET is have. So common language and base class library is a common. So .NET Framework, common libraries, common major components that are. So here, these are all the 2.0 .NET Framework 2.0 architecture. Coming to 3.0, along with 2.0 plus 3.0, you can see now in 3.0, they introduced WPF, WCF, WF, and call space. What is WPF? Already I told you. We can create Windows application using WPF. But in up to 2.0, from 1.0 to 2.0, we can develop applications, Windows application using only Windows forms. There is no WPF. In 3.0, 2006, .NET introduced WPF with rich user interfaces. The coding also is a different. The design part also is different. YAML coding. That is also nowadays. Now so many people are using WPF only. No one using Windows Forms because that much rich interfaces we can create in WPF. And some of the very important graphical classes in the WPF and some of the media classes in the WPF, we can call two lines. We can write two lines and we can play video in the WPF. So very nowadays anyone are using WPF only. WCF I told you, Windows Communication Foundation. WCF stands for Windows Communication Foundation. And then using WCF, we can create a web services. I told you the Google example, right? If you want to call a Google Maps in our application, the Google will create a web services and they will give to us. And then we will call that web service and we will display the Google Maps or weather information related in our application, right? So that type of services we can create using WCF or we can using XML web services. So WPF and CORDS is also important things. So then link you on ADO.NET 3.5 2007 version. .NET Framework version 3.5 came on 2007. The .NET introduced two types, two different features. What is that? Link you and ADO.NET Entity Framework. See, if you want to connect to the databases, SQL Server, What we will use? We'll use ADO.NET to connect to SQL Server. But we can use LinkU also. We can use ADO.NET in the framework also from 3.5 onwards. These are the very, very good concepts. Came on 2007 version 3.5 framework. So this also we will see. For example, if you want to filter a data in database, we will use where class. That type of where class we can use in C# code also. Lambda expressions, some lambda expressions came on thank you concept. So this is a very, very important link you on ADO.NET also. So this we will discuss in the later sessions. This also we need to discuss. This being developer can know this link you on ADO.NET. So we can develop, we can connect to the SQL server using these two concepts, and we can querying directly. We can write the queries on the C# code in the whatever we writing in SQL server directly we can write in the link also. That type of classes and namespaces can. So parallel link you and task parallel library 4.0 2010. So what is this? This is nothing but a 4.0 2010. This is improve the performance problems. It's resolve the performance issues. In .NET Framework 4.0, mainly they targeted only the performance. The performance. So many performance classes, so many performance issues resolved in the .NET Framework 4.0. It came on 2010. So these are the parallel link and cross parallel libraries that also we will see in the once we talking about the performance issues. These are the .NET Framework architecture from 2.0 to 4.0, and this is the 4.5 architecture. You can see easily, you can understand. You can so base class library, you know the VB.NET language, you know dynamic language, and then some of the important portable class library WinRT, some ASP.NET Web API is the new one, and ADO.NET is all the old one. So MVC web pages, SPS, some are the new concepts in 4.5 architecture. So you can easily understand. Once you will see, we will you can easily understand this one. So then, so this is the .NET framework from first slide to here. So what is the use of .NET framework, and uh, what is the .NET framework? What are the applications we can develop? What is the versions of the framework? What is the architectures of the framework? What are the major components involved in the .NET framework? How the code will execute? The code will execute to operate understandable language. This all we discuss it from first slide to here. From here, we will discuss what is the advantage of .NET. What are all the advantages of .NET? Because we should know first, we should read the advantage of the .NET before going to learn any technology. So now we are starting to learn the .NET. So we should know the advantage of .NET. So what is the advantage of .NET is, if the application is Windows platform specific, then use .NET. So if the application is Windows platform specific, then use .NET. What is the if the application is Windows platform specific, then use .NET. What is the meaning? So if you are most of the computers, most of the laptops, or most of the PCs are installed in the Windows OS only, right? Because we will understand only Windows. We are not understand Linux. We are not understand Unix. That separate people are there to understand the Unix operating system or something, Linux operating systems. So, yeah, but everyone can understand Unix operating system. So then the Windows platform specific, then use .NET. Then we want to target Windows operating system, then you will use .NET. So because everyone use Windows operating system, so then .NET is very famous to develop a Windows applications or Windows based applications. .NET is language independent. This should be clear for everyone. What is language independent? So if the team has multiple skill expertise, C Sharp, VB.NET, C++, developer can still work on the same project with different skill set. So see, I will. What is language independent? For example, if we have a team, we have a team 20, team size is 20 team size. Then in the team size 20, the out of 5 people they have a C# developer and 5 people have a VB.NET developer and and 5 people will develop the C plus VC plus plus application, and rest of the 5 people will know the three languages. Let us say. So I am the C# developer. I know only C#. I don't know VB.NET. I don't know VC++. I'm developing C#. So I will develop that application C sharp. So some people will know only VB.NET, they don't know anything. C sharp and VC++, they will develop in VB.NET. Some people will know only VC++, they will develop in application VC++. We can merge those applications in one project. Then, then that is the meaning. .NET is a language independent, so the team has multiple skill expertise. C++, some people VB.NET, some people C++. Developer can still work on the same project with different skill set. Okay, so that is the meaning. So how the .NET will understand? Because some programs are in C++, some programs are in VB.NET, some programs in C sharp. Every programming language has a different compiler. C sharp has C sharp compiler, VB.NET have VB.NET compiler, VC++ have VC++ compiler. How the .NET will understand? The CLR is responsible. In CLR, we have so many components. CTS, Common Type System, CLR. The CLR is responsible. The language independent. CLR will execute all type of coding languages, right? We have a C sharp, VB.NET, C++, but CLR will understand this all the coding and it will merge together and it will give the output. Okay, so .NET is a language independent. Then, what is the next point? MS technologies provide RAD application development. What is RAD application development? To deliver project faster, customer always prefer faster delivery. So we can develop application very fast. So as a customer, you will expect output very quickly, very fast. You will expect very fast. So customer will prefer faster delivery. So we can also deliver the application in the faster. So customer always prefer, right? Rapid application development. Debugging is very effortless, therefore can fix the debug quicker. What is this meaning? So for example, you are in the development time. If you develop the application, you're giving to the testing team. The testing team is found some issue, so they will get back to you. So you can easily find that the issue and they can resolve the issue. Okay, that is fine. That is you can easily understand. Then is time. See, effort is very less. You can easily find the issue. You can fix the issue and you can give to them. For example, the application went to live. So okay, development is done, the development stage is done, testing stage is done, then the application is deployed in the client place. The users are using the application. Assume that one bank is using the application. In the real time, if the user got any issue, user got any issue in the application, then they will get back to us, right? Then we can easily resolve the issue and we can deploy the application or we can give the support to them. But assume that if any bank will get issue at 10 o'clock, if you are resolving that issue at 4 o'clock, then 10 to 4 o'clock the entire business will be lost, right? So then we can using .NET, if your application is a .NET, we can easily resolve the issues. We can easily debug the issues. We can easily fix the issues. The deployment is also very easy and simple. After development, if we need to deploy the application, right? The deployment is very easy and simple. So this is the 5 important advantages of .NET, and also WPF, WCF are the some advantages of the .NET. What is the use of WCF and WPF? WPF rich UI, building a rich UI applications. Is WCF communicating with the processing systems like web services. And then we have a Visual Studio, fully integrated IDE available to develop a application. Visual Studio, I told you, right? Visual Studio is one of the important development tool. One of the very good tool, one of the great tool. We have a development tool called Visual Studio. We can easily develop the application using Visual Studio. And also we have a Linux and Mac support to third parties, mono support. So these are all the advantages of .NET. So these are all advantages of .NET. Then coming to next slide, the advantages of business application development. What is the what is the advantage of business application development? So when we are developing some application to a client, is always expect more output and with less time. So that is called less coding and increased reuse of code. Then we can use .NET. We have a .NET framework class library. We can use that class library. We can create application very faster. And then we can, that is called reuse of code, less coding. Because of that also less coding. We have a object-oriented programming concept. C# is the object-oriented programming concept. So that will use the reuse of code. What is object-oriented programming concept means that we will discuss in the later section. That is also very important. What is object-oriented programming? I will see if any program we should call as object-oriented program language that will support a four concepts: abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. Abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. These four concepts the program language should support. C# support these four concepts. That's why it's called as object-oriented programming language. C and C++ are not object-oriented programming language. Okay. So C# is object-oriented programming language. We have a reuse of code in the object-oriented programming concept. We have some less coding. We have a .NET based class library. Using this all things, we can achieve less coding and increase the use of code. And deployment. Already I told you the deployment, right? We can easily deploy the application after develop the application. Easily and simply we can deploy the application. Okay. And reliability. From since 2002, we are developing a lot of developing thousands of applications using .NET. So, we have a more reliability. More successful applications are there in .NET, and security also. We have a lot of securities concepts in the .NET that we will discuss in the security sections. You have some CLR. CLR will provide the security, and then such a role-based security, code access security. That all we have in the .NET. And type of application that can be created with .NET. What type of application that can create? So I told you the application created applications, uh, desktop applications, and then ASP.NET application. In desktop application, what is the example of the application we can create? For example, Windows 0 application, Windows Forms or WinForms applications. Like accounting application. What is accounting applications? For example, chartered accounts, CA. They will use Tally. They will use some accountant related software. That type of application we can develop using .NET in Windows desktop using desktop template. Product inventory application. Some products we can develop. See, for example, Microsoft Word is one product. Microsoft Office is one product. Excel is one product. That type of products we can develop. Notepad is one product. We can develop that type of products using .NET. Warehouse applications. Coming to, for example, warehouse application management. Warehouse application is the entire goods is stored in the warehouse. For example, example of shopping mall. Some items only displayed in the shopping mall. So once we will see the item, once we like the item, then the boy will go to Godam and take the item for us. So that will store on the warehouse. The item will store on the warehouse. So that applications also we can handle. Applications for value chain, supply chain management, and Windows service application. These are the sample applications we can create using .NET framework as a template called desktop applications. Like desktop application we can create using Windows Forms and WPF. Okay, and then application on embedded systems like PDA, this all you should not know. So these are all the some others including Windows presentation, WPF applications, console-based applications, service-oriented applications, workflow-enabled applications, Windows Workflow Foundation, the ASP.NET applications. So these are all applications we can develop. So this is the basic things in the .NET. This first, whenever if you want to learn, for example, now we are ready to learn the .NET. Now, then first we should know the .NET. What is the .NET? What are the major components in the .NET? How our code will executing in the .NET? What so how the memory management is going to happen in the system? So what are the advantages of .NET? What type of application we can create using .NET? First, we should know this type of things. Then only you can jump into the coding, or then only you can jump into the next session. Without this all knows, without this things, don't try to learn the .NET. Okay. And then, so if you have any doubts, so thank you for listening my session. And if you have any doubts, just you can mail me in siva.net@gmail.com. Okay. If you have any doubt also, you can mail me to this email ID. You can drop me an email so that I will reply to you. And then, so these are all the basic steps involved in the .NET. So these are the basic versions, basic architecture, basic. So this all you should know. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. I'm signing off.